Hey guys, I'm back to explain the Majordomo Staghelm fight from a healer's perspective. Most of the time, guides tend to leave our jobs to little blurbs at the bottom, so hopefully this gives you a better idea of what you need to watch out for, and why you need to understand certain abilities. This will only explain how I set up healing with my guild. There are different strategies, and every guild is different, but this strat seems pretty average until you get to the heroic mode. I bring 7 healers to the fight, because we tend to keep him in cat form for longer than other guilds. You could 6 heal it though, if you had to. I bring my 2 holy pallies, but you can get away with 1, since it's primarily a raid healing fight. A resto shaman, at least 1 resto druid, 1 disc priest, and a holy priest. Depending on your available healers, I would bring either another holy priest or another resto druid. I base my healer composition with bare minimum on each fight, and then look at who my strongest healers that are left are, and take them, regardless of the class or spec. There is only 1 tank needed for this fight, and is essentially all about raid healing, and good use of your raid and personal cooldowns. For a brief overview, Staghelm has 3 forms that you will have him switch through based on your raid's positioning. To get him into scorpion form, you must have the raid stacked on the tank. To get him to phase into cat form, everyone must spread out, except for melee, of course. Every 3rd switch, he will go back to human form, but only briefly. Each time he switches forms, he gains a buff that causes him to do more damage, so make sure your raid is not rapidly switching forms, or healers won't be able to keep up. This is important for you to understand, because you don't want to be yelled at when it's not your fault. We start the fight in scorpion form, meaning we are stacked on the tank. In this form, he uses an ability called Flame Scythe, which is basically a lot of damage that is split up between everyone that is in front of him. So it is important not only that you are stacked, but that the raid is in front of him. You want a tight stack, not a loose one, or else someone might not be in range to get Flame Scythe, and the raid damage will increase. Each time he casts that, he gets a buff called Adrenaline, which basically decreases the time between flame size. Essentially, the longer you stay in the form, the faster your raid takes a cumulative 2.5 million damage hit, split between different people. It is essential to have a Disc Priest barrier during the first Scorpion phase. I have my Disc Priest do it between the 6th and 7th Flame Scythe, depending on how well we've healed up the damage. The longer you wait, the faster they come, meaning if they time it right, you could have barrier up for 2 Flame Scythes. Once Domo hits the 10th stack of Adrenaline, your raid needs to spread out, and fast. If you don't do it fast enough, you will get another Flame Scythe, and your raid will most likely wipe, and at the very least your tank will die. When you spread out, he shifts into cat form. It is very important that range be spread out during this phase, at least 10 yards if not more. Melee can continue to stack on the tank, unless you have more than 18 of them, which is unlikely. For this form, instead of Flame Scythe, he will perform Leaping Flames, meaning he will jump to a random member not in melee range. The healing during cat phase is pretty minimal, unless someone is slow to move out of the flame circle that hits whenever he does Leaping Flames. Use this phase to regen mana. Use a concentration potion or mana pot. I recommend using it right after a Leaping Flames, so he doesn't leap directly on you while you're drinking. Once he hits however many adrenaline stacks your raid is shifting on. We do it at 5, but sometimes 6 depending on where healers are. Your raid will stack again and he'll shift momentarily into human form. If he shifts from cat form, each raid member will get Searing Seeds, which you basically have to run out and explode when its timer is up. Don't be near anyone. For healers, this particular combination and phase is always the hardest. Use all available raid cooldowns, including Aura Masteries, Tranks from Boomkins and Ferals, Divine Guardians, Divine Hymns, Spirit Links, anything you have at your disposal. Barrier is usually not up for this particular phase, so you'll have to use it the next time. It is useless in cat and human form, so save all your healer cooldowns for scorpion form. If you are lucky enough to have a pally tank, Divine Guardian is incredibly useful as well. Warriors should use Rallying Cry, but you will have to tell them when it's appropriate. Now, if he shifts from scorpion form to human form, he will summon big things that are called Burning Orbs. Basically, if you stand near them, they put a dot that stacks, dealing a lot of damage. Your raid will have to figure out how and when to swap, but the only thing that you need to know as a healer is that there needs to be at least 1 healer in range of every single person. 2 healers should not be swapping stacks on the same orb. Players should use whatever personal cooldowns they have towards the end of the stacks to help with healing. I don't tell my healers where to stand, but if you wanted to make sure everyone was covered, you could do that. However, be warned, the burning orbs spawn randomly, so they're never in the same place as a previous attempt. So that basically covers each phase for healers. How many stacks of adrenaline, i.e. how many flame size and leaping flames you get, is really up to your raid leader. But be sure to voice when you feel that they're staying too long for healers to keep up. But remember, every switch he increases his overall damage by 8%. Good luck, guys.